Episode 4. Only the Sphinx knows. Giza, Egypt.
Now at this point, our tour guide Amira had the bus drop us off right here. And I am not exactly sure where here was, but there was a rumor that there was some good food here. And it smelled so amazing, and everyone was so happy and so cheerful. It was quite the experience. But most of us had to run and find the bathrooms first. And well, I had to use the bathroom really bad. So as I ran in, I completely forgot to pay. Got into the stall, did my business, and as I was coming out, the bathroom attendant approached me and asked for some money. And I didn't know how much the bathroom there was, so I just reached in my pocket and grabbed 50 Egyptian pound. I hope that was enough to cover it. She did nod at me, but again, no change, so I am not sure how much it costs to go to the bathroom there. And I ventured my way back into the dining room where I sat down at the end of the table. And I looked around and I looked at everyone else's plates and said, oh man. I thought, oh great, there is still nothing for me to eat here. And I sat there with an empty plate watching everyone else eat. Then, to my surprise and dismay, these grills came out and they had pigeon and lamb logs cooking on them. I was so grateful for these lamb logs. I have never been so excited for lamb in my life. But these lamb logs came out with a pigeon and a little pepper on top. Ah, and everybody else started handing me their lamb logs to eat. So I had a plate full of lamb logs. But before we could all finish this, we were all getting back up and going back to the bus to head to our next journey. After about 15 minutes of travel, the bus stopped in front of a carpet manufacturer.
Gentlemen, allow me to welcome everyone in Egypt, and of course our Sultan Carpet School. Right here, I'm going to give a nice presentation. We are going to see the way we are making the handmade carpets. Allow me to introduce Mr. Mohammed and his daughter, Jasmine. Jasmine is 8 years old, and she is in the second grade. She comes with the father whenever she has the chance, to learn something from him. Well, the design they are following, I bet most of you have seen it inside the pyramid, on the ceiling, or the walls, the starfish design, and also the material we are using is a natural cotton fiber, Egyptian cotton. Follow the lines across, and we count to know where we are and which color we have to use. Thank you. So, have you ever did a cross stitch or a needlepoint? Yes. Similar idea, right? Now let me show you the way to make the knots of the carpet. I will ask Jasmine. Jasmine, do one of the knots in slow motion for us. In slow motion, she is going to make the knots. You can come closer. You can take videos, pictures, whatever you like. And she takes two boards of the carpet from the top, in between it. She finds the thread, twists it around the first board, then about the second board, around it from underneath, pull it down and cut it off. You can do about 225 knots like this. That's because we have a cotton. If you have a woolen, it will be 400 knots per square inch. If you have a silk, it will be 625 knots per square inch until 1,000, 200 knots per square inch. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know the difference between the handmade carpet and the mass product? When you see the back clean and clear like this, it means it's a handmade carpet. Otherwise, it's a mass product. Usually the mass products, fitted carpet or the design carpet come with a white background. After we finish a part of the carpet, so we have to shear the overlong pile. Let me ask Mohammed to shear a part from the carpet for us. And come closer to see that. Before and after. Go ahead. Become more clear. And the piles become even when we shear it all.
After spending some time perusing the wares, our group got whisked away again to see the other pyramids. The other pyramids. Who knew there were so many Egyptian pyramids to see?
The three pyramids of Giza were built between 2575 BC and 2465 BC for King Menkaure, King Khafre, and King Khufu. The pyramids were originally built out of limestone and granite blocks, then encased with polished limestone blocks. The pyramids survived many centuries of pillaging and plundering. Despite this, the Great Pyramid is still the largest pyramid in the world.
But first, we stopped to ride the camels. When in Egypt. You have to ride the camels in Egypt. And I will be very honest with you, the camels are not horses. First, to get on a horse, you have to just jump on, right? Well, the camels don't have stirrups. The camels have to actually lay down for you to get onto a camel. And you plop yourself on by kind of just plopping and rolling and looking kind of like a touristy idiot getting on. And when they stand up, they will shock you as to how tall they are. They keep on standing up, and it is like a never ending ride when they stand up. And as they're walking along, they bounce more than a horse. In fact, the ride is kind of rough. I had such a great time though, and we all made our way down to view the pyramids. The pyramids were in the background, and there were pigeons all over the place, flying all around. That was kind of a weird experience. And the guides, the camel guides, I guess you call them camel wranglers, they were sitting there looking at us, posing us, taking pictures of us. And it was kind of funny watching the other people and their pyramid poses on their camels. Then we all made our way back and dismounted off of the camels. Again, the camels then have to kneel and lay down so that we could dismount. And we all kind of flopped off, kind of like a fish out of water, off the camels. Then we all made our way back to the bus where we could go to the base of the pyramids. And the pyramids may look close together, but they're actually quite a distance apart. And I was so busy screwing around taking pictures of the pyramids that I didn't follow the group to get right up to the base of the pyramid to touch it. Man, I did get some good photos though. And there are absolutely no words to describe this experience. How do you put words on such the craziness, the colossalness of these pyramids? The stone bricks that make up these pyramids are absolutely humongous. And it's a whole new existential experience to stand right next to the base of the pyramids. You cannot describe it, you just have to be there. And we only had about 5 to 10 minutes to do this. And then we had to hop right back up on the bus where we headed to the Sphinx. Now this was my thing to do. I wanted to cross this off my bucket list for a very long time. The Sphinx has been one of the things that I wanted to do ever since I was small. And we loaded up on the bus, we traveled down the road. There's a myth that the Sphinx and the pyramids are together, and they're not. They're actually quite a distance apart. So the bus dropped us off at the base of the parking lot, and we walked for quite a bit through the complex, and the vendors were standing all around trying to get us to buy more trinkets and whatnots. And it was probably about 90 degrees Fahrenheit at this moment, but the heat wasn't going to deter me from seeing the Sphinx. It felt very surreal at this moment, and I was just trying to take everything in, but everything was so busy and so hustling. And what nobody tells you is that there is a line on the platform to get to the Sphinx. So it felt like an amusement park for a moment. I was super excited at this point, and when we rounded the corner to the platform itself, there the Sphinx was. Again, absolutely no words to describe how magnificent the Sphinx is. And as you make your way around the platform, you can actually see the tail. The Sphinx has a tail. What was funny was my mother wanted to go around the platform as well to see the Sphinx. And as she was going around the side, I was being hustled off onto the back because they were going to close off the platform to do a light show. Well, unfortunately, I had to get my mom wrangled up, so I was waiting for my mom. And in the meantime, I got some crazy pictures with the Sphinx. You can either boop, or you could kiss the Sphinx, or just look absolutely amazing in front of it. Our group rushed back to the bus to head to the papyrus shop.
This is called the papyrus plant. It grows on the banks of the Nile. And in order for the ancient Egyptians to benefit from this plant, they wanted to cut it up and see what's inside. So they wanted to take something of this size and start off by removing its green rind using a knife. So they discover it's very flexible and strong. So they start to make out of it baskets, sandals, chairs, and even boats. Have you guys been to the pyramids today?
Yes.
Yeah? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah? So beside the pyramid of King Khufu, there was a solar boat believed to be found. We have an image of it right behind you. If you look at the second image at the bottom, you will see a boat. In the middle, it's made out of papyrus. Could you imagine that? Yeah? Then they reach the inside of the plant and they cut it into thin slices. And then they discover it's very easy to break because it has a lot of water and sugar inside of it. So in order for it to be much stronger, they thought of taking the water out. Children of ancient Egypt loved chewing on this plant because it has a lot of water and sugar, like sugar cane.
I wondered.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you said sugar.
Yeah. This is how they discovered that when they take the water out, it becomes instantly stronger. But nowadays we don't eat papyrus, we like sugar cane butter. So you see how instantly more flexible and more strong it becomes just by taking the water out. The next step would be they soak it in water and they leave it for 1 week to get this shade of color. In order for it to be more dark, more brown, like the one behind you over there, so the longer you keep them in water, the darker they get. Also, soaking them in water controls the amount of sugar inside of them, so when they're taken out, they become sticky and they stick naturally. So they start taking them out in horizontal and vertical lines, so they're moving together, and they do this until they complete the sheet. They do 2 layers of this, and then they cover it with another piece of fabric, and then they press on it. Right now, I'm going to use a press and I'm going to use a carpet. What do you guys think the ancient Egyptians used? What do you guys think they used instead of that? Yes, correct. Animal skin. Very smart bunch. Yeah. Then after 1 week, they get this. This is what they get after 1 week of drying it out. The first paper known to man. This is older than the pyramids of Giza. The making of papyrus has been around for 4,500 years. When the holy books were written, they were all written on papyrus. This is how old the history of papyrus is with the world and with Egypt. You guys see the lines? This is how you tell this is real papyri and not fake. If it's fake, it wouldn't have these lines. Also, real papyri has no smell. If it's fake, it would smell like banana. So if it smells like banana, it's probably banana. Okay?
I ended up buying a painting there of Anubis, actually. And at this point, we were all exhausted and very, very hungry. It was getting dark, and the bus finally stopped us off at our last destination for the evening before we headed back. We arrived at this fine restaurant, and, well, the meal was quite different than before. They passed around rice, of course, and then beets and other vegetables. And I looked around and I patiently waited for some meat to be passed around. Of course, I was waiting for the pigeon and lamb logs, but they never came out. And I was quite confused.